Hey, this is Dennis Kreis, and I'm here with Eric Mock, pastor there, back in. How do you say that? How do you say that word? That's
Oh, I was
town.
gonna, I was gonna listen as you gave it a shot.
Okay, here we
It's
go. P p p pack. Yeah, you better just try it. Packatonia or something like that.
Yeah, it's you're close. It's Pecatonica. It's an Indian name for Crooked River. Our little town has a river running through it, and it's just a dusty, dirty, winding river, but it winds all through the state and up into Wisconsin as well. And our little town is there, and that's literally where we began planting the church, kind of a tent making thing. I am a supported missionary, so I volunteer my time as a pastor to preach and teach a couple times a week. And so it's a small little church. We're in a little building on Main Street surrounded by lots of mega churches that have a different version of teaching. And so our focus is just on teaching and discipling whoever God brings. And so it's a wonderful little town of about 2,500 people and about 50 years behind the rest of the world.
Well, in a lot of ways, it's not good to be. It's okay to be behind.
Mhm.
So, what do you like the best or dislike the most about the area that you live in?
Well, I say what I like about it most is that it's a small town.
Hmm. How
I
big is that?
although I travel around the world and go to major cities, it's nice to come home to a small town where you walk 300 feet and you're already to the next block. Most of the houses are old. My home was built in 1927 out of a Sears catalog, and you know it's an older community. Everyone knows everyone. When I go down to the local ice cream shop and order it up, everyone in the town knows my favorite flavor of ice cream, and so everyone works together. And so there's a good and a bad. The bad with that is that most people are fourth and fifth generation here in the Midwest. They have heard some version of Christianity, gone to a VBS or something like that, and they're convinced because of their affiliation when they're a kid, they're good people, and they don't need to hear the gospel. So the ground is extremely difficult. As much as I would like to say that I'm just excited and zealous, I'm also a kid from California, so I might as well have horns on my head. Everyone else is,
Welcome to the California crew, you know.
yep, I hear West Coast fruits and nuts. That's where
That's
you're
right.
from,
That's
and
right.
so here I am as a kid that loves going to San Francisco. My parents lived up in Portland for a while, and I'm a small town guy, and I'm in a town where I've even had a family tell me, "You're not from around here, so don't expect people to be gracious." But by God's grace, we have wonderful friends here, and the church is okay. But it we have six churches, three of them inclusive in town, and they are long-term churches, and they most people will go, and so challenging people in their faith is just a little harder. I pine for the West Coast. I grew up on the West Coast. It's Christy and I breathe
Beautiful
easy.
place, isn't it?
Oh, it's gorgeous. I can handle fruits and nuts. I love being there. Christy and I, it's just a joy for us to be there. That's why this whole opportunity to come out and to be with you all in Oregon is just it's just a profound opportunity for us, and it's a joy in our hearts to be able to come home in a sense. But in all that, we believe God has called us to be here. We've seen God at work, and we've seen the impact, and everything that has happened in our lives has been a radical transformation from the aerospace days to now. So if God has us here, it's quite purposeful.
Yeah, I have a friend that's been trying to get me to move back to Kansas, and I'm why? Why? West Coast is wonderful in a lot of ways. Well, our third session is talking about set apart in truth and love. And perhaps you can give us a little bit of a summary of what we can expect to hear then.
Yeah, and this is out of First Thessalonians 3, really looking at verses 11 to 13. And set apart in love and truth, it is this balance that you see Paul talking about, both in abounding in love and abounding in holiness. And so there's that common theme you see throughout Scripture, where we see the fullness of the holiness and righteousness and sovereignty of God, and on the other side we see amazing grace and mercy and steadfastness, and God is the culmination or the epitome of all those attributes, and in their fullness. Yet a lot of times we kind of slip off the mark. To roughly state it, love without truth is liberalism. Truth without love is legalism. And so we, in the simplest form, as Paul is talking about, he says, you can see that what he's saying is, I want you to abound in love for one another, but I also want you to abound in holiness. In other words, to hold on to truth. And so when we see these two things together, Paul recognizes the same battle that was happening in the churches. Either there's compromise, and you can, of course, we have most of the New Testament because of corrective letters that are there. Everyone says, "Oh, we need to go back to the early church," and we respond, "We are they,"
Yeah.
because that's why we have these letters. And so Paul's counseling them in here, to not only walk in holiness, but to abound or superabound, to graciously abound in love. And so he knows that there needs to be that aspect. You don't want to be Corinthian, you don't want to be Galatian. And so he's trying to show them a better way, in a sense. And so that this message is about navigating these times in both love and truth, navigating it in such a way that we hold fast to truth, but also hold fast to love. And how do we gauge our community without compromise? And certainly we have pressures from both sides, and so it's quite a battle to navigate that. And so Paul, of course, is in his words to the Thessalonians, they are predominantly a new church, and they're trying to figure out how to apply what Paul is teaching. And at the same time, he says, love your brothers and sisters, and love God with all your heart, soul, and mind. Hold on, abound in that love, for it's the fuel that'll allow you to practice the truth. And so the message then is going to be about the need, as we are IFCA churches, in holding to what Paul is counseling on us to proceed as churches in both love and truth, but not let one get unpinned from the other.
Yeah, very today, very full of application for pastors, for church leaders, for the average person in the church. That's a message we need to hear. So we're looking forward to having you March 15 through 17 at Pine Grove Community Church. Once again, if you'd like to register or haven't registered for that conference, go to the PNW IFCA page and register there.